Welcome, everyone. Good morning. I am Megan Ranciere, and I'll be presenting service today. Colleen Fitzgerald and Kayla are providing technical assistance, and Ted Goldman is our music director. Please be aware we're recording the service, and it will be posted on our YouTube page. And for privacy, we pause recording during joys and concerns. Also, at the end of the service, after we extinguish the chalice, we will have announcements. Also, after service today, we are doing some Prairie maintenance. So if you are able to stick around to help with that, that would be fantastic. We greet you today as you join us in a wider search for truth and purpose. In this quest, may we encounter one another with open hearts and minds. May we inspire each other to consider new questions and seek deeper meaning. And may we cultivate wisdom and compassion. Let all who enter this place see a welcome face, hear a kind word, and find comfort in this community. May all that we do and say here today help us to be a force for positive change in the world. For those of you who are new to us, I don't see anyone who is a first timer, so I'm gonna skip this part. How about everybody just takes a few moments to greet the neighbors around them? Go ahead. Yeah. It's like the yellow blue ball at the end of Inside Out. Okay. All right, so the chalice will be lit today by Sophie Kerr. Thank you, Sophie. Please join me in reading the words provided by Thich Nhat Hanh. Yeah, old-fashioned way is great. For the lighting of the chalice. Here we go. Water and sun green these plants. When the rain of compassion falls, even a desert becomes an immense green ocean. Thank you, Sophie. And now is the time for the sharing of joys, concerns, and milestones. Colleen, if you could pause the recording at this time. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Ted.
Oh, do we have a song or do we have opening
you're
words?
good.
I don't remember the order.
No, you're right.
Okay. This song that we're doing for this morning, the first song this morning, is from a wonderful nature movie. It's an animated film, My Neighbor Totoro. I don't know how many folks have seen it, but it's just great. It's seen through the eyes of a young girl, maybe 5-ish years old. It never says exactly how old she is, but it's seen through her eyes, and she meets a nature spirit. And I believe this is translated from the Japanese, and I can't vouch for the quality of the translation, but it seems to fit with what goes on in the movie, so we'll take it. She explores all over the area where their family's new house is, which has a huge woods and a massive tree and lots of unexpected little creatures. So I'll teach it since I don't know how well known it is. You have to imagine that you're a little 5-year-old exploring nature-loving critter when you sing it, I think, for it to work. So it goes, hey, let's go, I'm happy as can be. You guys do that one. Hey, let's go, I'm happy as can be. Next part. Let's go walking, you and me. Ready, set, come on, let's go. So let's do the second part. Let's go walking, you and me. Ready, set, come on, let's go. Okay, second half of it, because then it repeats. So once you learn this part, you'll know the whole thing. Over the hill, across the field, through the tunnel we'll go. So you try. Over the hill, across the field, through the tunnel we'll go. We'll run across the bridge and down the bumpy gravel road. So let's do that, run across the bridge. We'll run across the bridge and down the bumpy gravel road. And then it goes back to the beginning. Creep beneath the spider's web. Ready, set, let's go. Okay, good. As can be. Let's go walking, you and me. Ready, set, come on, let's go. Over the hill, across the field, through the tunnel we'll go. We'll run across the bridge and down the bumpy gravel road. Creep beneath the spider's web. Ready, set, let's go. Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go. I'm happy as can be. Let's go walking, you and me. Ready, set, come on, let's go. The foxes and the badgers too all come out to play. They all want to explore the deep and wonderful woods all day. Look at all my many friends. Ready, set, let's go. Look at all my many friends. Ready, set, let's go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
that awesome song. How many of you have seen My Neighbor Totoro? Just out of curiosity. Okay, cool. It's an amazing film. I love it so much. So, okay. Our opening words for today are titled Epiphany in the Beans by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is from her book, Braiding Sweetgrass. I was hunting among the spiraling vines of pole beans, lifting the dark green leaves to find handfuls of pods, long and green, firm and furred with tender fuzz. I snapped them off where they hung in slender twosomes, bit into one, and tasted nothing but August. By the time I finished searching through one trellis, my basket was full. Maybe it was maybe it was the smell of ripe tomatoes, or the oriole singing, or the beans hanging thick around me, but it came to me in a wash of happiness that made me laugh out loud. The land loves us back. She loves us with beans and tomatoes, with corn and blackberries and bird songs. She provides for us and teaches us to provide for ourselves. When I visit with my environment students, they agree that they love the earth, but then I ask them the question, does the earth love you back? They hesitate and they're reluctant, eyes cast down. Are we even allowed to talk about that? What do you suppose would happen if people believed this notion that the earth loves us back? It's a liberating idea that the earth loves us back. It would mean the earth had agency. It also opens the notion of reciprocity, that with that love and regard for the earth comes a deep responsibility. The way that we humans demonstrate love for one another is similar to the way the earth takes care of us. When we love somebody, we put their well-being at the top of the list. We want to feed them well, nurture them, teach them, bring beauty to their lives, make them comfortable, safe, and happy. That's how I show love to my family, and that is what I feel in the garden. The earth loves us back in beans, corn, and strawberries. Food could taste bland, but it doesn't. I often wonder if much of what ails our society stems from the fact that we have allowed ourselves to be cut off from that love of the land. Of course, much of what fills our mouths is taken forcibly from the earth. That form of taking does no honor to the farmer, to the plants, or to the disappearing soil. It's hard to recognize food as a gift when it is mummified in plastic, bought and sold. Everybody knows you can't buy love. The food movement is a place where reciprocity between people in the land is expressed. Movements like tree planting, community gardens, farm to school, local, and organic all have benefits to you and your family. Gardens are simultaneously a material and spiritual undertaking. In a garden, food arises from partnership. If I don't pick rocks and pull weeds, I'm not fulfilling my end of the bargain. I can no more create a tomato or decorate a trellis in beans than I can turn lead into gold. That is the plant's responsibility and their gift, animating the inanimate. Now there is a gift. People often ask me what one thing I would recommend to restore the relationship between land and people. My answer is almost always plant a garden. It's good for the health of the earth, and it's good for the health of people. Something essential happens in a vegetable garden. It's a place where if you can't say I love you out loud, you can say it in seeds, and the land will reciprocate in beans. All right, so before the reflection, I have one more song that I thought, it's a quick song that I think I'm teaching.
However you want to do it.
Yeah, I can help teach this song. So those of you who watched the Sunday worship service at the General Assembly last Sunday, probably familiar with this. They sang it a lot, and it's a very simple song. So we'll do kind of a call and response here. I know you're learning a lot of songs today. Okay, so can I hear a C? We are weaving our lives. Okay, so the first line sounds like this. So just sing it back to me after I sing it. Ready? We are weaving our lives. We are weaving our lives. Beautiful. Now the next line goes like this. We are weaving our hearts and our minds. Let's try that. We are weaving our hearts and our minds. Very good. All right, the last line is, we are weaving the bright and dark threads of our journeys through. Can we try that? We are weaving the bright and dark threads of our journeys through. Sorry. Beautiful. Okay, let's try the next verse, just call and response. Would you be able to play? Yeah, with just the melody. So, call and response. We are weaving our lives. We are weaving our lives. Good. We are weaving a blanket of light. We are weaving a blanket of light. We are weaving a basket to hold all that's true. We are weaving a basket to hold all that's true. Great. So let's just sing it once through all together. Ready? Do you want to set the tempo? 3, 1, 2, and we are weaving our lives. We are weaving our hearts and our minds. We are weaving the bright and dark threads of our journeys through. We are weaving our lives. We are weaving a blanket of light. We are weaving a basket to hold all that's true. Beautiful.
If you want, we could do, you could round that. It's too hard for round, you think?
We can try it. Yeah, let's try it. Yeah.
So you want to start the first half and I'll come
Okay.
in the first half.
So the way you're supposed to sing this is as a round, which means you sing the first line and then the next. So this group would sing the first line and then this group would sing the first line afterwards. So great, we have a natural leader here. You have a lot of natural leaders. So let's see it.
Let's
see
just try.
what happens. All right. So just repeat after me. You all are in the form as well, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We are weaving our lives. We are weaving our lives. We are weaving our hearts and our minds. We are weaving the bright and dark threads of our journey through. We are weaving our lives. We are weaving a blanket of light. We are weaving a basket to hold all that's true. Awesome. Very good. Yeah, give yourself a... What I love about that is that we are weaving the song together, right? And so that's a musical blanket that we're weaving. And of course, the main theme of that song is interdependence, which I'm now going to talk about a little bit in the context of the garden. So the MVUUC garden, how many of you have seen it back there behind the tree? Yay, okay. So some people didn't raise their hands. You might want to visit one of these days, but it was established in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I'm so delighted that the mastermind of this garden is here today. Hannah, if you raise your hand. So she really got this idea going, and a group of us got together to plant it, kind of as a way to safely gather together during the pandemic and build something together. Maybe it also gave us a sense of control in a time of uncertainty, a window of hope and growth in a time that seemed to be dominated by doom and gloom. And it was a restorative community building activity that made us feel not so alone. And it gave us something to focus on and devote time to when the usual structures of our lives had suddenly disappeared. And we got to watch the beauty of our garden grow. So 2024 marks our 5th year of enjoying the growth of our garden and all the blessings it brings. Physical and spiritual nourishment, a living community to care for, something to do, a place to go for a moment of rest or meditation, an opportunity to feel close to nature and to observe the creatures that inhabit this world alongside us. Over time, we've learned what works and what doesn't, and yet I'm continually surprised by what happens or what doesn't happen in our garden. It's a constant exercise in observation and response, trial and error, and sometimes just crossing your fingers and hope it works. My Instagram feed is full of gardeners who not only share tips and tricks for optimizing plant growth, but also frequently share their observations about how plants can remind us about important life lessons. One example is a guy named Marcus Bridgewater, who wrote a book called How to Grow, Nurture Your Garden, Nurture Yourself. And here's a quote from that book, quote, "Above all, the life inside us yearns to grow. With care and attention, we can cultivate that growth. The primary difference between us and plants is that we must choose to focus on our growth. We cannot make anything grow, but we can foster environments where things want to grow." A garden is also a very fitting metaphor for human communities, like the one here at MVUUC. We've experienced loss, separation, stress, and uncertainty, but we've also cultivated support networks and deepened connections through intentional effort and nurtured adaptations and hopefully healthy coping mechanisms to adjust to changes around us. In some cases, we may have identified areas of our life that need a bit more attention, maybe some additional pruning or compost or other kinds of nourishment. A garden also embodies our UU principle of interdependence and respect for the interwoven web of life of which we are a part. When we take care of a garden, we are reminded that we also depend on the water, the air, and the soil for our livelihoods and well-being. When climate change begins to shift weather patterns or intensify heat and drought, we all experience the stress of those changes. When wildlands are converted to housing developments and parking lots, or polluted by industry and agriculture, we all experience the loss of shade and oxygen provided by the trees, loss of biodiversity among native plant and animal species, and most significantly, loss of the opportunity to establish a reciprocal relationship with the natural world that gives us so much, everything really, despite humanity's seeming difficulty in demonstrating gratitude and reciprocity for these gifts. Part of this difficulty, I think, comes from something that botanists now call plant awareness disparity. It's a fancy term that simply means the inability to recognize the plants in one's own environment, okay? So it originated from the work of two botanists, Elizabeth Schussler and James Wandersee. And so in order to help address this disparity, I wanted to do a little introduction. So now I'm going to introduce you to the plants of our garden, at least this year's garden, because they change every year. So if you go out to our garden, you will see in one of the beds our tomatoes. We have only about 6 tomato plants growing. And of course, tomato plants have these sort of jaggedy leaves that are pretty easy to identify. And the beautiful thing about tomato plants is if you get near them, or especially if you touch them and then inhale, they have a beautiful smell. So you always can smell tomato plants very easily. And we even have some little tomatoes growing on one of our plants already, which I think is because of that spell of really hot weather we got. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert. We also have a lot of milkweed this year. So last year we had some growing, and I just let it go to seed, because I know milkweed is good for the butterflies. So there's a lot of milkweed growing alongside our fruits and vegetables. I just kind of want to let it go and see what happens. All right, so here's another really interesting thing we're trying this year. This also is inspired by the book Braiding Sweetgrass, where the author talks about the three sisters. And this is not original to that book. This is a very old and well-established indigenous practice in this land that we now call the United States. The three sisters are corn, beans, and squash. And the idea is that you plant the corn first, the corn grows to a certain height, and you plant the beans later, so that as the bean plant grows and the tendrils go up, it climbs the corn plant. So you have a natural trellis in the corn plant. And so on the left, you can see our corn plant. We have some beautiful ones growing out there. And in the middle picture, you can see a little bean plant growing next to the corn. And then the third sister is squash. And you plant that one sort of last, because it actually grows really fast, but the squash is the ground cover because it produces really, really big, I'm using my hands to represent the leaves because they're huge leaves that cover the ground and actually discourage weeds. So they all work together to help each other grow. They actually share nutrients. They provide nutrients to one plant that the other plant doesn't provide for itself. And it's this beautiful symbiotic family relationship that you can watch unfold, or hopefully we'll watch unfold in our Three Sisters patch this year. We'll see. So the next slide shows just a few more. We have thyme. Thyme is really hardy. Those of you who garden, you know this, like you cannot kill it. So thyme in our garden, it survived the winter and it's flowering right now, so it's beautiful, lovely herb. Chives and kale, both of these actually came from Hannah. So Hannah you grew the tomato seedlings as well, so thank you, Hannah. Chives have been in the garden for a while, and now it's at the point where it's just reseeding itself. We don't have to do anything, so it's great. Take some chives, they're delicious. We have that growing. Next slide. This is new this year. We're growing a lot of cantaloupe, and it seems to be very happy. So you'll know the cantaloupe when you see these beautiful vines growing. You can see it's already in the photo on the left. It's already starting to climb up the garden fence, and these lovely little yellow flowers, which will hopefully turn into melons later this summer. Last slide is what I'm going to tentatively call our weed patch. But let's not forget that what is a weed? A weed is just a plant that somebody didn't want, right? And a lot of weeds are actually edible and very valuable. So in the center photo, we have lamb's quarters, which is usually considered a weed. It's also called, these awesome names, white goosefoot or pigweed. Now, this is an interesting thing because a lot of plants that indigenous people traditionally ate were given these sort of insulting names by European colonizers. So you could call it wild spinach, which is actually what you might find it as at the farmer's market, and they will charge you an arm and a leg for this stuff. But it's free if you just go outside, right? It's everywhere. European colonizers gave a lot of indigenous foods animal names, like lamb's quarters, goosefoot, pigweed, which was kind of a part of their perception that indigenous people were not fully human, right? But now a lot of these indigenous foods are being reclaimed and re-honored, like given their due honor. Lamb's quarters is actually really delicious, so I encourage you to try it. There's plenty growing out there. Also on the left, we have mustard greens. We planted those a couple years ago, but they're very good at propagating themselves, so we don't have to do anything. They just do it themselves. And then on the right, we have our one sunflower that's growing. I planted about a dozen seeds. I think they were stolen by squirrels, but this is our one sunflower that we can look forward to. All right, so that is an introduction to our plants. And so I'm gonna wrap this up with a quick blessing of the garden, okay? So Audrey Hepburn is credited with saying, "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." Let's move forward in that spirit of new growth. So this is just a little blessing that I wrote up to ask, and I wanted to ask everyone to just sort of say it along with me, to put out good intentions for this garden and to show appreciation for what these plants and what this garden give to us. So, are you ready to read with me? Okay, let's go. May our garden be a place of peace, beauty, fellowship, and learning. May the resources that sustain our garden bear fruit for this congregation and this community. May the work that builds our garden help us to remember the people who provide our food and the struggles they endure. May the plants in our garden remind us of our responsibility to care for the natural world of which we are a part. May we welcome all to this place. Thank you. Now, to wrap up this reflection, I have two things. The first, we did this last year. So one thing I like to do every year is tie these strips of fabric to the garden fence. It helps to discourage birds from stealing stuff, but it also looks really pretty. And what I ask folks to do is to just write an intention. Actually, you can change the slide. I have instructions on there. Yeah, so I just ask everybody to write, a thought, a prayer, a blessing, an intention, a wish. And then I'm going to take these strips of fabric and tie them to the garden fence, and they'll flutter in the breeze and look very beautiful, and hopefully send your good thoughts out into the universe. So I'm going to start it over here and just pass it around. And I can collect your strips of fabric at the end of service. The other thing that I wanted to offer today is plants. So these are squash plants that, honestly, I was even shocked by how quickly they grew and how healthy they look right now. I have to say, I'm not a real gardener. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. But this should encourage you. If somebody like me can grow things from seed, then anybody can do it. But to make it easier, these are healthy sprouts. These are all squash plants. And most of them are delicata squash, which is a lovely, delicious squash. So you can take one home if you like. And I hope you will, because otherwise I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So. All right, so that concludes my reflection. Thank you for your attention. Now, I know we already have a basket going around, but I think at this time, I'd like to also pass the offertory basket. So this will be a fun little juggling of the baskets. All donations are gratefully welcomed. If you make automatic pledge payments, you can place one of the laminated cards to indicate the support in the basket. Thank you. And Ted, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, Ted. So we have, not short, but not long. For our closing words today, this will give you more time to write wishes and intentions on your fabric. The closing words are called Growing Together, the Interdependence of Our Community Garden by Reverend Israel Bafardi. In our garden, every plant relies on the others around it. Roots intertwine, and life-giving resources like water and nutrients are shared. Similarly, in our community, each act of welcoming helps weave a stronger fabric of inclusivity. Each volunteer effort supports and uplifts others, and finding your place enhances the whole ecosystem. This interdependence ensures that together we create a garden that is more resilient, vibrant, and flourishing. A garden thrives when new plants are welcomed and integrated into the ecosystem. By being open and welcoming, we acknowledge our connection to each other and the vital role that each person plays. This welcoming spirit helps new and existing members find their footing, enriching the soil of our community with diversity and warmth. Volunteers are like the gardeners who tend to the needs of various plants, understanding that the health of one affects the health of all. Your volunteer efforts are crucial. They nourish our community, helping to maintain the balance necessary for every member to thrive. In volunteering, we see our roles not just as tasks, but as contributions to the welfare of the entire garden. Finding your place in our community is about recognizing where your strengths can best support our interconnected garden. Whether it's in a sunlit spot leading activities or a shaded nook supporting quieter tasks, your unique abilities help maintain the delicate balance of our communal ecosystem. Each role, each position is a testament to our interdependent nature, ensuring that the whole garden benefits from the contributions of each individual. Together, let's cherish and nurture the interdependence that makes our community garden not only survive, but thrive. Our collective efforts ensure that this space remains a testament to the strength and beauty of living interconnected lives. Okay, so to extinguish the chalice, please join me in reading these words by Parliament Funkadelic from a really good song, if you ever want to look it up. Okay, so read along with me, please. Be careful of the thought seeds you plant in the garden of your mind, for seeds grow after their kind. Now is the time for announcements. Does anybody have announcements? Yeah, Kevin, go for it.
Yeah, so I think Megan already mentioned prairie maintenance, but I just wanted to give a little more background. So prairies are a kind of very biodiverse grassland that are extremely rare in this region. They're typically maintained by grazing and fire, neither of which can we actually do with our little prairie in the back. And so instead, we've got to be the people that are maintaining it. And one of the things that will happen if we don't control the woody species, the shrubs and trees, they will take over and it won't be a prairie anymore. So what we're doing is we're cutting those woody trees and we're putting a tiny amount of herbicide on the stem and just to kill that particular tree. So it maintains it as a grassland. So if anybody is available to help, we're going to work a lot on this beautiful day after service, but also we're probably going to just get started today. And so there'll be additional opportunities in future weeks. If you're willing, just let me or Megan know, and your help will be appreciated. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Will. Bob Rex asked me to step in today to remind everybody about the Kids Coalition Against Hunger activity that's going to be held at the Field House, which in BG, sponsored by the Rotary Club, Bowling Green State University, the athletics program, and the student leadership group. So on July 26th, I have the sign-up sheet that Bob asked me. I'll put it out there by the welcome table and the sign-in. There are different shifts. I think Bob's hope was that we might get MVUUC team together for the 10 to 12:30 shift, assembling meals. The goal here is 70,000 meals, so it's about 500 meals per with this group. So come ready to work, and please sign up on, I'll leave this open side for you to fill out and indicate that you'd like to participate. And I know Bob will be very happy, and please, at least somebody sign up so that Bob knows that I filled in adequately in his absence. So July 26th, BG Fieldhouse.
Robin.
Hi, I just want to remind everyone that this upcoming Saturday, July 6th, here at 1 p.m., we will be showing the movie Dax's Case, which is kind of about medical ethics and that kind of thing. David Love, who was in here earlier, but he's now in RE, will be holding a discussion regarding that. So if you're interested, next Saturday, 1 p.m., Dax's Case. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Any other announcements in Zoom or, okay, great. So after the, oh, Laura, go ahead.
Just one, if anybody that didn't sign the.
Here, just for Zoom folks.
Okay. Anybody who didn't sign the attendance sheet out in the foyer, please sign. It's a lot of help to us in figuring out what we need to plan and do here.
Yeah, it helps us with record keeping and stuff like that. So, okay. After our closing song, we invite everyone in person to stay for coffee hour, but also if you want to join our work party, woo, we'll be starting our work about 12:15-ish. Great. So our closing song today is a traditional hymn called For the Beauty of the Earth. You can find it in your gray hymnal, number 21, but the lyrics are also up here on the slide. Take it away, Ted. For the beauty of next slide. The night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, source of all to thee we raise. This our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, source of all to thee we raise. This our grateful praise. Beautiful. Thanks, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a